Hello, this is National Chess Master, Rats at chess.com. I'm starting a simul. Let's get these games going. Time control is 90 moves or 90 minutes for all the moves plus the 30-second increment. I've started 2 games. Okay, waiting for more. Okay, I've got 2 games started. Alright, so let's see. Got another challenge here. Got 3 challenges so far. Okay. Anyway, there's not much happening in the first part. There should be more challenges coming here. I don't know where they are. But they're going to have to hurry up. Okay, so not much is happening yet. I've got 3 games going. Okay, it's my move here. Let's see. Well, I've only got 3 challenges. Quite a few more said they wanted to play me. Where are they? I don't know where they are. Better type in here. Here we got a challenge. Okay, let's see. $90.30 rated. You play black. Okay, let's see. What's happening here? Not much. Okay, we're getting this thing off and running. It's my move, it's his move. My move here. Okay, do I have more games down here? That's a good question. I don't know yet. Okay, there's another challenge. Okay, we got that one done. Okay. Got E4. Let's see. Not much happens at the beginning of these. Okay, so let's see. Another challenge. I'm not playing 1-0. Get out of here. Okay, we'll transpose this into the English. Okay. Alright, let's see what's happening here. Okay, just trying to get through the openings here. Only 5 games? I can't believe it. Okay, challenges. There's one. 91.32 rated white. That's close enough. Okay, let's see. Oops, wrong pawn, wrong piece. Okay. For a few more minutes only. Challenge me at 90-30 rated. You play black. Okay. So let's see. Time to castle here. Sort these out. Okay, let's see what's happening. D3 is his move, my move here. Let's see. Gonna transpose this into something else. Okay. I'm familiar with a lot of different lines, so I'll transpose that. Okay, he castled knight c3. Guess I don't have that many games going. Okay, it's kind of taking on a Gruenfeld flavor, but I know this line, Neo Gruenfeld. Okay, so here comes the pawn center. I'm used to that. Now let's see, knight b3 or knight takes c6. I've played both in this position. One idea is knight takes c6 and then h4. Aha. I bet you hasn't seen that line before. Okay, maybe he has. Alright. Bishop g4. Do I go through with the normal routine here? Might as well. Okay, let's see. Okay, g6. We're in a normal kind of position. I'll just follow through with the system. Knight f6. Trying to remember some of these lines. It's useful to play the King's Indian attack. It's an opening I'm trying to teach players with white because it's simple. And it works great for a simul because I can pretty much follow the same setup. I don't have to stop and sort things out. Okay, I guess I'm not going to get that many games. They seem to be more interested in playing me, but I'm going to shut challenges off if I can't get anyone. That's just the way things is, you know, so to speak. I can't be bothered for challenges, so... oh, there's a challenge. Okay. 5-2. Get out of here. No. Okay, I'm insulted by these... No, I'm not really insulted. I've clearly said what time control I'll play. Why are you challenging me at 5-2? Get lost. I mean, I don't mean that. Don't take it personal. I'm not playing Blitz. I'm not playing Bullet. I'm playing this thing. Okay. Got to continue with development here. See which games my moves are in. I mean, okay, normally there's knight c6 there. That's fine. I think the plan is rook b1 and b4. Okay, that's kind of like main line. What's happening here? He castled. Okay, just follow through the normal development. Okay. Hey, it's not my move. Let's see. Knight bd7, so now knight bd2. Okay. He's copying me. That's fine. I'll copy him. What's he doing? Okay, took. Now, I think the tricky move here to play is h4. It's in similar positions. Do I want to play it? I don't remember which position it comes up in. I know there's one where white plays an early h4, but essentially it goes against everything I preach. You know, you're starting an attack without any development. Everything I own's on the back rank. Okay, he's going to get d5 in at some point. We allow that, and I know sometimes in these Neo-Grunfeld type positions, black gets a nice outpost on c4, so I'll just keep him out of there. And since he doesn't, a lot of times that's his king knight goes on a little dance. It gets over to b6. That's how it hits c4. So I'm not too worried about c4. I'll just basically play this to develop and play for strategy later. I'm familiar with this type of position, so let's see. It's not my move there. Not my move here. Hey, I got him thinking. Okay. Now here's the center fork trick again. This came up in the other simul. You didn't watch the first video. Okay. It loses a tempo, but I get the center fork trick. In the other game, it was Navitsam. I played knight takes e5, and he gave up the bishop on f2. And rook takes and knight takes, and I ended up with this really great game. And he blundered a rook in an inferior ending. But I think knight takes c5 is just kind of deadly. It's the old center fork trick, and I've already played this. I just had this in the other simul, so it pays to watch my videos. If you watch my videos, you don't make these mistakes. Okay, so there it is. All right. Now let's see. Just continue with the normal plan. Queen c2. Okay, what's he doing? Rook b8. Okay, I think that's theory. So let's see. I know the Neo-Grunfeld often comes up in the English opening, where white's opening with 1c4. Okay, so I can play c4 and get into it, but I can also not play c4 and make this a battle of our own wits. It's one thing I like about chess. You can nobody's making you play a certain move or a certain opening. Okay, he's got this wonderful bishop on the long diagonal. He's hitting b2. Now what can I do about it? Well, let's see. I have candidate moves. I can play knight. I can't use the arrow. It'll end up dropping it there. I can play knight d2, gambiting the pawn. Bishop takes, rook takes, and then knight b3. That traps his rook. But what I want to try to do here is just concoct a plan right now. The objective here is, what can I do to get this guy out of theory? In other words, I don't know how well he knows this opening. I hope he knows it very well. But if I can play something a little different that's logical and sound, and I follow up a plan, then I can use my chess knowledge to outplay him. Okay, so the candidate move I'm looking at, it seems a little anti-positional, but it fits in. It's just to play c3. Now, what's the purpose of c3 here? Well, the whole purpose is it avoids going into the main line of c4, going into a lot of your Neo-Grunfeld type positions. It blunts his bishop on g7, okay, and it opens up a line for my queen. I can come down there and pester his weak pawn on an a7. I'll still get my pieces developed. I mean, I have to get mine developed. Well, so does he. He needs to play knight f6 and castle. That's 2 moves. And then he's got to deploy find a home for his bishop on c8. So I'll still be able to get my pieces in the game. So if he breaks too early with d5, that gives the c5 square as a potential outpost for my knight. So I'm just going to play c3 here and make this a battle of wits. I know how to handle these types of positions. What do you know? Let's find out. We'll teach you something. Okay, on to the next game, a5. Okay, it's a little slow. He's trying to forestall me from playing b4, but I'm going to get it in. I just play a3 here, and we go from there. Okay, now let's see, queen d6. That's kind of anti-positional. Usually they put the queen on the same diagonal as the bishop. So what's his intent here? Okay, objectively, what I need to do is continue with my plan and open up in the center with e4. Okay, so now he played knight f6. Okay, so now um, the first objective uh, is to continue my development. Now, how do I get the outpost C5? Well, there's three moves: knight B2, uh, followed by knight B3 and bishop E3. Now, it's not all that easy. I can't force that. There's things he can do in the meantime. He does not have to play D5 and just yield that outpost. Um, Also, I can consider deploying the knight to C4. The purpose behind that is it hits a couple of squares. Uh, it hits a couple of squares where I'm just a little lost here. Knight C4 hits E5 and hits A5. Now I don't have any weaknesses in my position. My one weakness is B2, but it's well secure. What I need to do is continue my development. So the knight's going to go to D2 anyways. The other option is to put it on A3, but I can't see that doing much use other than D2. So from D2 it plans to either go to B3, C4, and F3 is an option. And we wait and see how he responds, and then we continue. So simply knight D2 here will be effective as a good developing move. Okay. Now he's played bishop, developed his bishop, so now it's time to advance my pawn. I do have to watch out for some potential tactics. Okay, the knight on C3 is not under attack, but on this diagonal, but it can open up easy enough with some tricks. But I shouldn't have to worry about it. So the first step is to go ahead and get B5 in or B4 in, and as I say, I have plenty of time to watch for tactics. Okay, so now we go there. And now he plays Rook D1. So what's his objective here? Does he want to get to D3 with his queen and make a queen trade? Is he trying to make an exchange on that square? Okay, let's consider what he might try here. Okay, analyzing Rook E1. If he takes, I take with the pawn. He puts his queen on D3. Okay, now that's fine. I take, and he takes with his rook. Now he's got some pressure on F3. My knight's guarded. How can I mix things up here? Let's see. One thing I can do is try to take advantage of the fact that his queen is on D6. That's a potential vulnerable square. Let me stop and think about this one for a second. With only 5 games, I have time to play a better game and give more instructional value and get you into the insight of how a master thinks. Okay, so essentially, the position's basically even. It's just a matter of me trying to find a way to continue to complete my development and maintain some winning chances, and at the same time not getting a bad game. If White misplays this King's Indian, he can get a bad game really easily, and that's what I'm trying to avoid. I don't want to get a bad game. Anyway, where are we? We are at so potentially, like I say, if I play Rook E1, he plays D takes E4. I play D takes E4. Now he has Queen D3. Okay, now if I trade the queen, his rook comes down. His rook's a little bit of a nuisance. I'm not able to kick it out with knight E1, and I can't play bishop F1 because of rook takes F3. So the question is, how do I get rid of that rook? Well, not sure about that. The other potential line is to take his pawn on D5, and that gives me the E4 square as a hopping ground. Okay, for my knight. Okay, so for instance, E takes D5. He can take with the queen, but I'm not too worried about that. that gives me time for moves like d4, and then I maybe get c4. So he takes with the queen or the knight. Now I can play knight e4, tempering his queen, and he's got to be careful. Queen d7, I have possibilities of knight c5. Nice little outpost for the knight, and another tempo. Then I can get d4 in. You know, sometimes you have to change some of the things you have to do. Okay, because the fact his queen is on d6, I think that I can do something. Let's see, I want to check one more line. If he takes with the queen, he's on d3, but I just play d4, like I say, and then c4 is the threat. My knight's threatening to discover on his queen, so here we'll just stop the e-file penetration. Okay, whose move is it? Okay, so he's got the classic response here: answer a wing attack with an attack in the center. I just noticed there's a pawn hanging on e5. It was his current move here has allowed it. Now, this goes back to what I was discussing. Keep in mind that there may be tactics on that diagonal, and if I take the knight or take the pawn on e5, and I want you to think of this as in order to improve. If I take it, I'm allowing some potential tactics. Now, it could be it's a free pawn. It could be that it's not a free pawn. Now, how do you find out? Well, you analyze. Okay, that's the only way you find out. If you don't analyze, you don't find these things out. So, White's basically going to consider the candidate move of taking the pawn on e5, and then we're going to see what else we can do if we ignore it. And a lot of times in my games, I've found that if I just ignore these free pawns, that things often work out very nicely. Because I just get development. Now, what's not developed? My queen and my queen's bishop. Okay, for black, his queen, queen's knight, and queen rook isn't developed. So I'm slightly up in development. He is threatening to win a pawn on c4, but that's really the least of my worries. So my two candidate moves are to take on d5 with a pawn and to take on e5. Let's examine. Knight takes e5. Okay, that just captures a pawn. Well, what's he going to do? He's given up a pawn, but he's got this long diagonal that's opened up. All he has to do is move his knight, and he's got some pressure on that diagonal. So let's consider knight e8. It's a retreating move. It's not a very aggressive move, but it does put an immediate threat on my position. So how do I deal with it? Okay, if I move my knight on e5, as I explained, the weak knight on c3 falls. So I have to guard the knight, it would appear, with either d4, f4, or bishop f4. And I think bishop f4 is kind of a lemon. I might run into a tricky move like g5. If I play d4, he can, it's not very enviable. Bishop takes e5, d takes e5, and then he takes on c4, and then, no, he can't take on c4, his queen hangs. See, that's one of the drawbacks of knight e8. Okay, because his rook no longer protects, so he can't really win the pawn back. Okay, so what I basically do is, I'm not sure, so far knight takes e5 looks like a fine move, but maybe there's better. We don't know yet. We have to examine these things out. Okay, so knight takes e5. If he play, let's see, let's try knight h5 as opposed to knight e8, since there was a problem on the back rank. Okay, now if I play d4, he plays bishop takes e5. I take with my pawn. He takes on c4, and now his queen on d8 is covered. Okay, so queen, don't want to exchange and develop his rook. We both have a set of double pawns. I've got some pressure on the long diagonal. I've got the bishop pair. This is okay for white, but let's see if we have more. There's a good chance white can have more out of this. And the only way we find these things out is if we analyze. And you want to know how a chess master thinks. You're hearing it firsthand how a chess master thinks as I examine these variations. So the other alternative is to simply take on d5 first. Now this avoids a lot of the little tricks that he had in mind. Now one thing he can do, he can take back with his knight in this position, and now his bishop guards the pawn on e5. Okay, now my knight on c3 is loose. I've got to deal with it. Okay, I've got to deal with it. Let's see. So knight takes d5. My alternative is to develop a piece and guard c3 with bishop d2, but there's still some potential tactics on the long diagonal. Let's see. But usually I'm against just going out and winning a pawn in the opening when you're not developed. It's a much safer and sounder strategy to just develop pieces. Now, so I don't think c takes d5 helps me a lot. Okay, what about bishop g5? That's a nice developing move. It puts some indirect pressure on d5 because it pins his knight. Now, how can he take advantage of this? Well, he can play d takes c4. Okay, then if I play d takes c4, now I'm the one with a hanging pawn. Okay, bishop takes c4. Okay, so now it's true I can get the one back on e5, but because of the pin, he can't do his little tricks with his knight yet. So I play knight takes e5. I'm on his queen. I'm on his bishop. He can't move his knight because of the pin. So queen takes d1, which develops my king's rook. See, this is the kind of continuation I like, when you set up positions where you make exchanges that develop your pieces. Now my knight goes to e5. His bishop on c4 is loose. I'm getting some reasonable development here. If he tries knight h5, now I take his bishop on c4, and then he plays bishop takes c3. I have knight b6. For what that's worth, it just puts the knight on a nice little outpost. I've got the two bishops. He's got a queenside pawn majority, which is no big deal. So if he plays rook a6, attacking my my knight on b6, I have a plethora of reasonable moves here. I have bishop e3. I even have bishop d8. That's a nice move, bishop d8. Takes advantage of the fact that his back rank is loose. So I kind of like bishop g5 here. What am I missing? See, I like to make moves that develop pieces, and there's no need to win a pawn from this guy. I can win a pawn later. I can get my pieces in play, and I can win more than a pawn, and you can too. So you don't have to just grab the first pawn that comes up and presents itself. So I think bishop g5 puts him in a little bit of a pickle. He has to try to figure out what I'm trying to do. And I've just explained what I'm trying to do. So bishop g5. I'm not worried about losing the pawn on c4. I've got plenty of active play. If he spends the tempo with h6, I don't mind giving up my bishop for his knight. Bishop takes f6 is fine. Then he takes on f6 with his bishop, and now then like I say, I go about my business. I play c takes d5, and he plays c takes d5, and he's got a pawn center. He's got the two bishops, but I'm gaining some time here. Queen d2 attacks his pawn on excuse me attacks his pawn on h6. He comes back bishop to g7. This is just a possible line. I can open up the b file now and be on his pawn pawn on b7. Let's see. Pawn takes. He takes with the rook. I take, and he takes mine on a3. I don't even have to do that. I could even play a move like b5 and take away c6 from his knight. I don't know. The fact that white has a lead in development, I like this. And, maybe I haven't analyzed everything out. Just have to wait and see. But bishop g5 is a developing move, and I like it. So let's see. I got to make some more moves. Okay, now he's on d3. We discussed this, so my move is d4. Now I got to move here. Okay, he castled. Now, question: where do I want to put the knight? c4 or b3? I'm going to put it on b3. The point is that it invites him to try and chase the knight and just drive it to a better square. So I'm going to play knight b3, relieving some of the pressure on the b file. Okay, what else do I have to move? Okay, he took. Now I played d4. He didn't do what the other guy did. He took on f2 with check, which I think is a mistake. Oh, I got to move here. Shoot. Got to make sure I don't time out any games. Okay. Now, do I want to play e5 right away here? Let's see. Or, I'm sorry, e4. c3. Yeah, I'm just going to follow the system. c3. Okay. Whose move here? Now I take with the queen. Okay, so now it's his move there. Queen c7. Okay. What I've got to do is develop more. I'm trying to induce him into playing d5, which will give me the c5 square. If I play bishop f4 here, he plays e5, gains a tempo. What I need to do is get developed, as I was saying. Queen c2, I can try to invite him to provoke him to advance his d pawn, and I would answer a future bishop f5 by him with e4. It's true, it shuts my bishop off, but I'm kind of familiar with these kind of pawn structures. So the most important thing is to develop. He might bishop a6 is no good. It's not a good diagonal for him. I'm going to tempo it with knight c5. So queen c2 is my move here. Okay, so now let's see. h6 he did. And like I say, I'm happy with this position. Okay, so now he put his queen on h5. Is he threatening anything I should worry about? Yes and no. It ties my knight down to d2 a little bit because it's holding on to the h2 square. My knight on f3 rather is holding on to h2, and he's doubly attacking f3. But he's far removed from being able to do anything with that yet. I can play rook e1 here with the idea of knight e5, and if he takes my knight on e5, I would take back with the rook and kind of molest his king a little bit. Rook f1 also clears f1 for my knight when I break his double attack. I mean his attack on f3. I need to move my knight on d2, but I can't until I liquidate the attack he's got on f3. So rook e1 is the move to play here. Okay, let's see, what else do I have? Okay, it's my move there. No, it's his move. Okay, where else do I have games? Queen takes d4, d6. Okay, so now what I can do is I can play knight d4, which attacks a pawn, but I don't necessarily have to. Let's see. Bishop e3 is an interesting move. No, then it stops me from playing e4. Of course, I can play knight d4. Just seems kind of silly. It wastes a move. Well, let's see. Knight d4 attacks c6, but he covers it. I don't really quite have a good follow-up. So I need to develop something. Let's see. I can play e4 here and invite him to play e5, shutting his long diagonal bishop in. e4, e5. My bishop goes to e3, plays knight g4. So let's see. What if I keep him out of... If I keep him out of g4, I'd rather do it with my f-pawn. If I'm going to shut off that diagonal, I'd rather do it with my f-pawn. Simply for the fact that I'm used to that pawn structure. And so e4, he could play d5, but that's fine by me. I can just take it. Yeah, I'm going to play e4 here. He has bishop e6, a6, tempoing the rook. The rook just goes to e1. That's fine. e4 is a playable move here. Okay, bishop d6. What's happening here? Queen c2 will stop him from playing e4. I won this game. He resigned. Amazing. Okay, well, one less game. Okay, what do we got going here? Okay, he played queen f6. Queen takes. He took with the queen. This is fine. He didn't take with the bishop. I was analyzing him taking with the bishop, but I said, well, you don't know what he's going to do yet. We just wait and see. Okay, so potentially there's some pressure on c3 here, but it's my move. I have plenty of time to deal with that. If I take with the pawn, c takes d5. He should take back with his pawn, and I can still follow my my plan of action with queen d2. Of course, then he gets e4 in, attacking the knight and the knight. So let's see. I could have a loose knight here that I'm going to have to deal with. Okay, but the knight can go. Okay, my knight can go to b5, which threatens to stick it on c7 and eliminates a lot of his threats. Okay, so the move here is to take this. Okay, now what's Kasparov doing? Okay, he spent a tempo with a6. Okay, that doesn't really help the black position. Okay, I'm not threatening to put anything on b5. Okay, so it doesn't develop anything towards what black should be trying to achieve here. Black's got all his pieces out. I don't. I still have developed my queen, rook, and queen, bishop, but we're going to work on that. So the first objective here is to play knight e5, and the point of that is to so that my knight on f1 or d2 can move. So knight e5. And his queen could get embarrassed if he takes on e5. So knight e5 is the move here. Okay, what's happening here? He did play bishop a6. Okay, I wasn't too worried about that. f2 is covered. e1 is e2. E4 is vastly overprotected, so everything looks peachy. Okay, so rook E1 there. How many games do I have? Let's see. It's his move here. Okay, it's his move there. What's happening with this game? He castled. Okay, now is the moment to play the thematic E4. Okay. E4, Queen D4. Okay, that's not my move there, not my move here. Not my move there. I'm actually caught up. Oh, there's a move to make. Okay, knight D7. So he reopened up the diagonal. Where's he trying to go with that knight? That's a good question. Doesn't bother me on C5 because I just lop it off. I think it was a mistake to put that knight on D7 because it wanted to answer bishop E3 with knight G4, and maybe my bishop gets chased. So for instance, had he played as a candidate move rook FC8, if I play bishop E3, knight G4, and if I play bishop D4, he can consider the double-edged E5, forcing my bishop back. He takes on E3, I take with the rook. Now, he's got the bishop pair, but he's got a pretty solid pawn structure. So I think in this case, what I do is I just work on completing my development with bishop E3. Is he trying to get to C4 with his knight? That's a good question. Is he? Well, if he is, he is. Let's see. Is that much of a problem? Let's try to evaluate this. Okay. I do need to develop. The only question, my queen bishop, so my queen rook can get into play. The objective is to find a good way to move this guy. Okay, let's see. How am I gonna do this? Okay. So far, everything looks about normal here. There's no tangible advantage for either side. He's keeping me out of C5, which is good. That was one of my objectives. I wanted to try to get to C5. Now he's trying to get to C4, and I did mention that was a potential outpost for black. But there's ways I can deal with this. Okay, so for instance, knight D7. Okay, what I can play here is simply bishop E3. And if he tries knight E5, does he want to go to D3? Well, you know what? We can let him. Let's see. Knight E5 or C4. Let's see. I have this maneuver. Bishop E3, knight E5, rook A1, knight C4, getting his outpost. And now I drop the bishop back to C1. And B2 is well protected again, so now my knight is free to roam. And his knight's kind of biting at nothing. So then I can make moves like knight D2 at some point, offering free exchanges. Yeah, I think bishop E3 is the move. And if he plays knight E5, I just develop my queen rook. The only thing I have to watch out for are tricks. Well, it should be okay. Here's what the moment my knight goes, the D2, it gives him the A5 square for his queen, and nothing's covering A2. And I don't want to have to push that pawn and weaken things. So that's the only long-range difficulty that I might run into, is if he's able to gain some positional concession out of me by that. See, this is master chess at work when you start thinking of these things. So before I rush with bishop E3, let's consider what he's trying to do. Knight E5, okay, rook AD1, knight C4, bishop C1. Okay, now it's his move, so he needs to develop something. Rook FC8, we'll try that move. Now the moment I play knight D2, Let's see. What if he can try queen a5 at that point, or he can do it after he trades knight. So there's two other candidate moves to look at. If knight takes, I take with the bishop, and then I answer queen a5 with queen b1 of all things. And I'm covered a2, and I can probably soon get b3 and c4 in with a reasonable pawn structure. Okay, what if he does it the other way? Let's see. He doesn't take on d2. He plays, the moment I play knight d2, he plays queen a5 right away. Well, when he does that, I can't play b3 because c3's hanging, and I don't think I have a trick. But I can do it the other way. Knight takes c4, bishop takes c4, now b3, and now my queen is covering a2. His bishop's on pre. He moves it, and then I can play c4. And I'm all set here. Even if his rook was on d8 instead, let's see, if he breaks with d5, e takes d, e takes d. Now he's just going to drop a pawn. He doesn't have enough compensation. So bishop e3 with the idea of rook a d1, with the idea on knight c4 of bishop c1, and then chase him out of there. Okay, what's happening here? Okay, he played that. Now, wow, he's on my queen. Okay, that shouldn't be a problem. How do I want to deal with this? Simplest way is to move the queen. Where do I move it to? d1, queen takes d1, rook takes d1, knight takes e5, d takes e5, knight g4. That's no good. I can put the queen on b3. If knight a5, getting his knight out of play, I go queen a4. Let's just put the queen on b3. I think that's safe. Okay, he's moved. Oh, he played c5. He didn't go for what I was thinking. Okay, so if he plays c4, not too worried about that. It shuts his bishop off and gives me the d5, d4 square. So how about if I just play rook a d1 anyway? Then on knight e5, then I have the option to play knight d2 a tempo early. No, I don't, because he has knight d3 available. But then I have the option of playing bishop f1 at some point here and maybe trading off the light squared bishops. So completing development is most important. So I'll play rook a d1 here. Okay, what's happening here? He's on my queen. So let's see. I can always check. That looks fine. Check here. Okay. Now thematic is rook e1 here. Okay, pawn pusher, you're moving just a little bit too quick here. Okay, I can't play bishop f1 in this position because knight f3. Let's see. Well, I want to play f4 and invite him into c4 because I'm all set for him to go into c4. The only difference is, do I want that f pawn advanced? Well, with the puts it on a black square, and objectively I like to have a black squared bishop in the ending. So let's see. Let me just kind of look at my other games. I want to make sure I don't drop anything on time here. Okay. So now, as I say, there's some latent threats of b5. So this is where I play knight b5 and let him worry about my knight going to c7. My knight's not hung out to dry there. Okay, what's happening here? He took. Now, how I take back, with the rook or with the pawn? That's a good question. If I take with the pawn, I'm tempoing his knight. If I take with the rook, I could run into discovery like knight g4 on my rook and on h2. So let's see, d takes. If he plays knight g4, anyway, well, I'm on b2, b7. I'm not so much worried about losing a pawn. I have resources here. See, what about an exchange sacrifice? Pawn takes, rook takes d2, bishop takes d2, knight g4. Well, I have h4. I can survive this attack. Okay, so I'll take with the pawn. Okay. Bishop e6. Now I got to get some development. Okay, let's see. For what it's worth, I picked up the bishop pair. And often when you pick up the bishop pair, you do so at the expense of a tempo or two. So I'm going to have to catch up in development here. c3. I want to take the tactical opportunities of d4 away from him. Okay. Now I got to watch out for tricks on f2. So we can do that with knight f1. Okay, let's see. He played knight a6. Okay, now question. Is he threatening anything I should worry about? Not necessarily. One thing I could do is just grab that pawn on a5 and make him justify being a pawn down. Our way to do it is just ignore that pawn and put my queen on d2, which is what I want to do, is get developed. And let him worry about the pawn. Okay, then if he takes, I take back with the pawn. Let's see. I'm against snatching that pawn on a5. I really am. Let's see. B takes a5. Why snatch pawns? Develop. That's what I always preach. But it's there for the taking. Okay, queen d2. He should play rook fc8. No, he should take on b4 first, and I take. Now he plays rook fc8. And I play rook fc1 if I gained anything. If I take the pawn, he gets to play. He just has to wiggle around and try and win it back. Development's always better. Let me think about this one a second. Queen d2. Queen d2 or snatch the pawn. I think queen d2 is a good move. Snatching the pawn, he's going to have to work to get it back. It opens up the b file for my rook. What can he do in the meantime? He can try e4, but that gives me knight d4. That's a good square for my knight. I don't think his knight getting to c5 matters all that much. Let's see. Pawn takes on a5, knight c5, queen d2. He can play d4. The idea being to drop his knight into b3. But then what he's done is he's opened up the diagonal of my bishop. And plus I get knight c7 in. Let's see. So pawn takes, d4, queen d2, knight c5, knight c7, knight b3, rook takes b3, bishop takes b3, knight takes a8, rook takes a8, and I'm still holding onto my pawn. I'll snatch it and see what he has. I don't think he has enough compensation for the pawn, so I'm just going to take it. Okay, as expected, there's knight f1. Okay, so now I've got to be careful here. There's a mate threat. Well, it's not really a mate, but it's an awful and annoying threat. I'm not so much worried about the pawn in e5. I can get it back. The only question is how do I want my pieces posted here? Let's see. h3 just weakens my position. Knight takes e5, and then he's on h3. So the question is knight f3 or knight f1. Knight f3, he can take with the bishop, but then I can play rook takes e5. It gets interesting. Knight takes and win 2 pieces with the rook, I think. Knight f3. If he plays knight takes e5, I also have to what? Well, queen's covering d1, but he's on his queen on h5 is on d1. It gets complicated here. Let's see. How do I want to do this? Knight f3. I have to examine 2 captures. Knight takes e5. I play knight takes e5. And when he plays bishop takes e5, I do not have time for taking back. I've got to watch my back rank here. It's one of the drawbacks of development. So knight f3, knight takes e5, knight takes, bishop takes. He's not threatening anything. I can finally get around to developing my queen bishop. Yeah, knight f3, and then if the alternative capture shouldn't be much difficulty. If bishop takes e5, I have a chance to take on e5 with the rook. So knight f1's a little better than knight f3's a little better than knight f1. Okay, so knight f3 it is. Okay, what's happening here? He castled. Okay, so like I say, it's basically punting here, redeveloping pieces ever so carefully. Okay, he played d4. Okay, opening up or trying to lock up the center. And it's my experience that I can do just this, lock up the center and launch a kingside attack much easier. Of course, if I take on d4, that activates his bishop on d6. I'm always against that. Okay, this is a fine position to play c4 in. Okay, what's happening here? Rook b8. Okay, see, now he's not really attacking much. He's basically he's trying to move his knight to c5, but and not have to worry about knight c7. But it frees me to do a few things, like mainly develop. Okay, so queen c2, knight c5. Of course, I don't have to put my queen on c2, d2. So it's a nice useful square for my knight. I can leave the queen on d1 and try knight d2. That keeps him out of b3, but I'm going to have to find a home for my queen. Queen d2, knight c5. I could play queen b4. Okay, that attacks his knight. And if he plays rook fc8, I play rook fc1. Okay, queen d2. Process of elimination. It's not a bad move. Okay, what's he doing? He took. Okay, so now he's temporarily a pawn ahead. But no worry, I can get that back. I do have to stop and deal with his threat, but that's fine. He's got weaknesses on the queen side. And his kingside attack is running out of steam here. Okay. And he played knight e5, just like I thought. Now, what was I saying? Did I want to play f4? I can't play knight bishop f1 yet. I can play bishop back to c1 now. Let's see. Matter of fact, it's not a bad move. Bishop back to c1. I'm just going to do it. Bishop c1. It was part of the idea. Okay, got to move in some of these games. Okay, took with the bishop. So now there's a bishop hanging, but his check down there on the back rank is kind of potent. So I have to be careful about that. I need development. So I can I'm not worried about. Let him waste time guarding his pawns. Let me get my development complete. Bishop b3. Okay, what's happening here? Rook a c8. Or f c8. So now I put my rook here. Oppose the rooks. Ah, he played that. Okay. So now we chase his... Let's see. Taking on b3. I could play knight d2. And if bishop takes a2, I play b3. Ho-hum, let's see. Good move. Need more time to solve these things. Let's see. Where are we going? Let's see. Knight b3. Let's see. Bishop c4. Okay, knight d2. Knight d2's objective is to gambit the pawn. Bishop takes b2, or a2, b3. Now, what can he do? His bishop is on pre. He has queen a5. Okay, but his bishop is still on pre. So now, I have time for f4. Yeah, it's a little risky, but it's opening up a line of attack on c3. I could play bishop b. Let's see, where do I want to go? Now I can play bishop f1 simply because f3 is covered. If he moves his knight to resume an attack on c3, I have knight c4 attacking his queen. And if queen takes c3, he drops his bishop on a2. But of course the drawback with knight... Well, I'm attacking his queen too. That bishop takes b3, knight takes a5, bishop takes c2. He's on my rook. I'll go on his rook. Knight takes c6. I'm going to temporarily up a piece here. Bishop takes d1. I just play knight takes e7 check. Don't have to play that. I could play knight takes rook and come out of this a piece ahead. Knight takes rook. My knight should be able to get out of there. Wait a minute. Yeah, knight takes rook. So knight d2 may work here. course, I got to look at it a little deeper. I also have to watch my time here. It's starting to burn. See, if this was a game 60-30, I'd be close. I'd be in time pressure already. All rats, as the name implies. So, in order to make effective, I don't care so much if I win or lose these. I'm trying to teach you guys how I think. Think like me. Think like a master. There's a book called Think Like a Grandmaster. Well, think like me. Think like an ordinary master. Knight d2 is such an interesting little move, offering up a gambit. Okay, let's see. Knight d2. It just exposes. See, bishop takes b3. He can try c4. Okay, that's an interesting move, c4. But I can play b4. Wow. No, I don't have to play b4. I just take his silly bishop on a2. So he has to play queen a5. And what was I saying? I have time for bishop f1 now. And I don't know, just getting his bishop out of play there. I don't see how he gets it out. The worst he's going to do is snatch a pawn off me that I can't hold. Let's put him on the defensive. Okay, now, if I take on b7 with the bishop, I can get it pinned. Is that a problem? I don't know. Not too worried about it. What I need is more development here. Let's see. 52 minutes left. Queen takes b2. Rook a b8. I shouldn't have lost a pawn in this position, but I did. Well, good job. Okay. He's given me this diagonal, f4 to b8. His bishops aren't enough to mate me. He's got... darn, let's see. Bishop takes b7. How about if I play just a quiet move like a4, trying to activate the a rook on the a file. The point being that I'll shove this pawn up the board and generate some play on the queen side. Yeah, he's won a pawn off me, and I didn't see it coming. So basically, I've just got to neutralize what he can do. The bishop on e3 is fine there. It's keeping his rook out. And it's... Of course, queen c4 is another move. Then he plays c6. I don't know, I kind of like a4. Let's just see where it goes. Just see where it goes. Okay, what's happening here? Queen d7. Okay, like I said, I got to have some development here. Okay, what's happening in this game? Okay, so now, is he threatening anything I should worry about? Not necessarily. Okay, first order business. Let's see. Let's try to. Gotta watch my time. 50 minutes. Let's threaten to double his pawns, even though it's going to leave me with a crummy bishop. That's fine. I don't mind trading bishops for knights. Okay, queen d8. All right. So now, how to continue this? I got this knight on f3 that once in the game. Knight e1 to c2 to b3. Another move possible is d4 here, and if e4, I've started to open up the diagonal. I've closed up the center and start to open up the diagonal f1 to a6 so my bishop can get in the game. And of course, if he takes on d4, I've got these wonderful knight outposts. So d4, the idea being to provoke e4 so that I can then play e3 and activate my bishop, and at the same time I'll be restricting his bishops a little bit. Okay, so d4 there. Okay, play b6. This is fine. Let him have some weak pawns. Now, question is, can I start attacking them? Queen c4 does that. Okay, so I can just leave him there too. Queen c4. I don't need to go regain my pawn just yet. I can play rook d1, but I could have done that last move. I'm keeping him out of the squares. Let's try and get some weaknesses. I want to get a queenside pawn majority. Queen c4 attacks c7, and it attacks a6. Let's see how he handles it. Okay. Oh, I'm making him think. He's not rushing to take a2. Good. Okay. Knight f3. Okay, let's see. We're now 1 hour and 12 minutes into this. Simul. h6. Okay, kind of a slow move. Time to offer some peace trades. Okay. He doesn't want doubled pawns. Okay, that was smart. So my bishop will just drop back. Let's clear c1 for it so I can come back. Rook a d1. Okay, he took. I'll take back with the pawn. Okay. He took it. Okay, let's see. Maybe you calculated better than I did. b3. Got to play it. And like I say, I've cleared c1 for the bishop. Nifty little maneuver I have. Well, let's see who's calculated. Who's calculated better? Queen a5. Now, what was I saying? Bishop f1 here. Bishop f1. Dang, what was I looking at here? Queen a5, bishop f1. I'm sure that was the move. What else was I looking at? You got to calculate all these things out. I was looking at c4, and I pretty much stopped that with b4. Somebody wants to chat with me. Well, I'm playing a game. What's up? Okay, let's see. I'm playing several games. I don't know what he wants. Okay. I've got his bishop on a2 all tied up. So bishop f1 was the move, I'm sure of it. Is there a tactical flaw with it? Bishop h6, then I can play f4. attacking his knight and shutting off the diagonal. Okay, what's happening here? Good, he did what I wanted. Now I've restricted his bishop somewhat in this position. Now we use knights. Knight e1. Now the objective is to get my bishop into play on f1. Or the g2 bishop goes back to f1. Okay, not sure. Watch group. Not sure. Watch group for announcements. Cap locks went on. Okay. Okay, what's happening here? Knight f1. Who do I have to move against? Rook d7. Okay, I can snatch his pawn. I don't know. Do I want to? Gives me a pawn majority. I can go molest his rook with bishop c6. Where does he go? d3. Let's see. Okay, let's see. He has bishop d3 possibilities coming up. And my queen gets a little bit embarrassed, not too much. Okay, let's see. Bishop c6. Rook d6. Everybody has their moments. Let's see. What am I gonna? What is mine here? Rook. So I'm going silent here. I'm just trying to, just trying to debate this. A5 is interesting. And it invites him to play b5. And I can play queen c6 and attack the pawn on a6. And he no longer has bishop d3 because I'll have queen c6. E5. It looks playable. Okay, let's see what's happening here. Rook e8. Okay, so now, like I say, now I can make a threat here. Queen f4 or f3 threatens to play bishop takes h6. Putting the queen on f4 might be safer, avoids a bishop g4. Although, yeah, let's do that. It keeps him out of d6, pressures c7. But queen f4 doesn't threaten. Where's my queen? So one thing I hate about picking up pieces. Okay, so queen f4 doesn't threaten bishop h6. Okay, but I don't need to make threats. I mean, my development is not complete, and that's what I said I needed to do, is get developed. So bishop d2 it is. Okay. He played c4. All right, that's fine. Now his queen is somewhat tied down to guarding his bishop. And let's see. Okay, so let's see. C4, B4, attacks his queen. And I was looking at what? Stuff with him playing bishop B3 at some point. I remember like some crazy tactical line. Okay, he also played queen A6. And then I can play F4, chasing his knight away. He can go to D3. The idea being he wants to meet exchange on D3, giving pawn back so he can get his bishop out. Okay, so bishop takes D3, C takes D3, queen takes D3. Now his bishop's got a way out. He has the bishop pair. C3 is a little weak on my part, but I can cover it. He has a nuisance check on B6, but I shouldn't worry about it. Okay, basically I have to play B4 here and then just see what he does. Okay, what's happening here? A5. Okay, I don't mind that move. It's now a matter of me redeploying things. So let's see. Knight H4. Knight H4 is a possibility. And if G5, I put the knight on F5. If he takes it, I've opened up the diagonal for my bishop. Okay, knight H4. Okay, what's happening here? B6. So he's going to play down the pawn. So won the pawn, and on rook takes, I do have to play E3 so I can get some protection for my knight on B5. Let's see. I don't have to take that silly pawn. I do if I want to stay a pawn ahead. Let's see, I have 46 minutes left. Bishop F1. Or I'm sorry, E3. Let him have the pawn, and then Bishop F1. And I'm keeping his knight out of play. I mean, this is a good time to give up the pawn. E3. Let him take my pawn. Bishop F1. Now I've anchored my knight in, and he's kind of tied up. It's the kind of position you don't. A5 will stay weak. He's going to be tied down to guarding it. This is just a good time to give back a pawn. You don't have to be greedy. But let's see. If I take, I was greedy once against my wishes, but it seemed to be a good idea. Pawn takes. He takes with the rook. He could take with the queen, but he's not really threatening anything, and I have potential discovery. So he takes with the rook. Now I'm a pawn up on A3. Then I play E3, and if he plays rook takes, I need to take back with the queen so that my knight is guarded. So I take back with the queen, and E3. It just makes sense. His bishops aren't really that good in this position, although he can activate 1 to A3, but attack A3 with bishop F8, but E3 just makes positional sense here, and the A5 pawn will stay weak. Okay, so anyway, okay, good, he played there. So now I go ahead and attack his pawn on A6, threatening to get a pass pawn. What am I missing? Anything? I don't think so. Okay, queen C4. Okay, he did play queen A6. Now, is this where I chase his knight? let's see. How do I handle this position? What have I got? 30 minutes left. Let's see. How do I want to do this? For the price of a pawn, I've got his bishop out of play, and I haven't solved everything. Sometimes you can't always solve everything, especially when you're playing 4 or 5 games at once. In order to win the bishop on a2, I have to get a rook to a1, which is easier said than done because I've carefully put my bishop back on c1. Anywhere I put my knight, he takes it, so I can't move the knight. I'm pretty much forced to playing f4 here. I mean, the alternative is to play bishop b2. That's one way to do it. Go back around that way. Bishop b2. And if he plays knight d3, maybe that's what I was looking at. Well, once again, what I do is I take it with my bishop. He takes, and I take with the queen. c3 is guarded. And where's his bishop come to? It's not under attack, but he better move it back to e6. And then I have moves like rook a1, getting on the a file. And he doesn't have that check. I think bishop b2 is the move here. We're going to play. If he doesn't do anything, I'm going to play rook a1 and bishop back to c1 and win that silly guy. So bishop b2, see what he has. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so I got to develop. Rook c1. I need to get up and walk around in a second here. Did I drop something? Oh my god. Oh well, it's just the exchange. Gets rid of his light squared bishop. Not a big deal. How do I want to take back? Take with the queen so the queen can get active. Didn't even see that thing was hanging. Oh well, it's just exchange. I'm bound to make mistakes in these things. Okay. Good job for spotting what I didn't. Okay. Okay. But I'm down to 4 games. Yeah, I could have had more games going. Dang it. You know, I know there were more people that expressed an interest in the chat. Where were they? Okay. Rook, queen c6. I have 4 games left. Let's see. 42 minutes there. 29 minutes here. 51 minutes there, and 41 minutes here. And only 4 games to play. Do I have any more games over here? Did I forget about any? Nope, just 4 games. Okay. Because one guy resigned on move 2. I don't know why I ended up with fewer games, but oh well. Okay, let's see. And he gives. Wait a minute. Didn't you? Who's missing something? Knight takes b3. Pawn takes knight. Bishop takes queen. Pawn takes queen. Of course, I don't even have to take your queen. Let's see. He's trying to get a passed pawn down my throat. What did I miss? I mean, it just doesn't seem like I missed something here. I thought I was very thorough in calculating this out. I mean, not exactly thorough. I knew that it was good to trap his bishop. Okay. I can also take queen takes bishop here. What's wrong with that? Queen takes bishop. What's he do? He's down a piece. See, if pawn takes, I play bishop takes a6. And he's down a pawn. And there goes my phone. Who's that? Okay. Hello?
I'm giving a simultaneous exhibition. Yeah, call back later. Alright. Please take the call. Take care.
So much for the... okay, so he just dropped a piece. What did I miss? Queen takes bishop. What do I have? What am I missing? What am I missing? Queen takes bishop. The alternative is to play knight takes. Is he figuring I'm going to... Is he figuring I'm going to do that? I don't know. What's he thinking? Let's examine the two candidate moves. Okay, queen take or knight takes. He takes with the pawn. Then I play bishop takes. Queen. And he takes my queen, and this seems to be fine for him. He's not down a piece, and he's getting ready to... Let's see, rook c1. But queen takes bishop just outright wins. I don't know. What am I missing here? But knight takes isn't as... I'd like to play knight takes if I could, but I don't think it's as good because then my queen hangs. Okay, what am I missing with queen takes? What queen takes? What else can he do? He can play knight d3, but I just play bishop takes, and on d3, and the pin is back. So let's see. So he takes my queen. I take his queen. What does he have to show for it? I'm covering all the critical squares. c4 is covered. d3 is covered. f3 is covered. Play queen takes bishop check. That's one possibility. Yes, there's only a possibility. If I play queen takes bishop, there's no need to hurry things. I don't see everything right away because I'm a very methodical player. But you're not measured on how quick you can move. You're measured on how well you can move. So let's see. Wait a minute. You can't play queen takes bishop check because that diagonal isn't open yet. So yeah. Here I'm thinking he can take my bishop on f1 with check with his queen, but his own pawn's in the way. Oh my God, I hallucinate. Okay, queen takes bishop. What do you got? Let's see what you got there, pawn pusher. Okay, my move. No, his move. Okay. He doubled his rooks. Is he threatening to go anywhere I should worry about? No, he isn't. So, let's see. Queen takes a6, rook d1. I snatch another pawn. He takes on a1. I take here on a1. He checks. I take. His queen takes. My bishop comes down here. His bishop goes to f1. And I play queen takes b5. Okay. Game's still going. Okay, this game's still going. I just got to look around. I want to make sure I'm not running out of time. Okay, his move. There goes your queen. I do believe I'm a piece ahead. Okay, he took the pawn, which I wanted him to take. And now, as I say, we just redeploy things. Get the bishop into play, and a5 remains a weakness. Now the next step is to get the knight on e1 into play. He can go to g2 and f4, maybe. Okay, so my minor pieces are a little better than his here. Okay, are you gonna... So let's, as we say, batten down the hatches. Bishop e2 covers the key squares and prepares knight takes b3. Somebody else is calling me. Hello? This is Bill. I'm doing great. I'm giving a simultaneous exhibition right now. I can't talk. I'm on this chess.com, so I just hung my queen in the game. Oh wow. In about 2 hours.
11:30.
Yeah, somewhere in there. Just give me a holler, okay?
Great.
All right.
Okay, nice talking to you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, same here. Take care. Everybody wants me when I'm on. And I hung on my queen. Gosh, I gave away two nice pieces. Okay, let's see if these guys can win with material up. Okay. All right. So, first objective. I've given up the exchange, which I didn't mean to. So, now I have to attack his king. I've got a light squared bishop and he doesn't, but I can't really utilize it well. First step is to try to induce some weaknesses in his position. Okay, knight f5. Okay. I can't believe I blundered. I can. You played too quickly. All right. I worked on this game. I actually did. Okay, so what else is happening? Knight f5, bishop e3. I've given up a queen for a rook. My goodness. Ugh. Okay. Well, that's all right. Rating points, I don't care about them. Who cares about rating points? You go up, you go down. He's got to demonstrate that he can win with an advantage of a queen for a rook. So it's fun for him. I wasn't even paying attention. He uncovered an attack on my queen. I didn't even see it. Let's see. Let's go back. Bishop f5. Huh. All I was thinking about was development. Didn't watch my queen. Okay. Well, that's no big deal. I don't care. All right. So what do? When you're down a queen for rook, there's not much you can do except control squares that your opponent can't bother you on. So I've got a dark squared bishop. He doesn't. So I need to activate it. How do I do that? I have potential for a queenside minority attack. How do I do that? B4. Because I don't want to open up lines too quick. Let's get... I'm going to play preventive maintenance here. Since he's got to get this dark squared bishop in the game. Bishop f4, g5, bishop e5, knight g4 gets traded. Rook c3, knight e4, rook b3, then I can kick him out. Yeah, let's double rooks. Okay, watch my time. Two people I want to hear from have to have to call me when I'm doing this. Oh well, I'll talk to them later. Anyway, okay, let's see. I never did snatch that pawn, did I? Okay, I'll just take it. Worst happens, I've done something wrong. Okay. What's he threatening? I'm just going to go take that pawn on b3. Okay, so at some point I have to take I'm going to need to take a walk. We're now an hour and 40 minutes into this. I've got one winning game material-wise and two losing games material-wise that I got to fight on. Okay, bishop e7, it's my move. I can go threaten mate in one. Let's see. Queen g4 threatens mate. How does he guard it? With either knight g6 or, I'm sorry, knight g6, knight e6, or g6. Got to get a lot of guys into play here. Let's see. There's no point in threatening mate if he can guard it. The point is to try to increase attacking chances with the extra piece I have. Say, you're down in exchange. You still have an extra minor piece. I have 4 minor pieces. He has 3. I'm just down a rook. I'm up a piece in minor pieces. I'm down a rook in rooks. That's one way to look at it. So my bishop on c1 is meant to fight another day. Right now it's just keeping him out of b2. I need to find a way to get everything activated, and I'm try to induce a weakness. I think h4 is called for. Try to find a way to break this position open. Okay, let's see what's he doing here. He did play knight e4. So now I just put the rook on b3. Okay, knight c4. Where's he going with that critter? He's trying to take my bishop. Okay, so what if I just take it off? Attrition. Now, knight d4. Or knight d2. Let's see. How do I want to do this? Knight a5. Knight a5 is a possibility. Knight d4. Knight d4 is a nice centralizing move. It might force him to give up, trade more wood here to get a5 in. Because if he pushes a5 too early, I'm just gonna maybe push by or do something else. Knight d4 is good here. Okay, let's see. There comes that move, a move early. Okay, that's fine. This is the point where I play bishop f1. Okay, bishop f1 kind of does a few things. Okay. I think he drops some material here. Let's see, maybe I'm wrong. Rook takes c1. Queen takes c1, knight d6. What does he do? I could take with the bishop. Rook takes c1, bishop takes. And I've undeveloped his bishop. Let's see. Knight c3 attacks his knight on a6 and his rook on b7. Somebody's moving. I just don't run out of a lot of time. There comes a5 as expected. Now, do I play bishop a3? No, that just allows. Okay, b5. I'll just play b5. And if he plays bishop takes, I take with the rook. On his rook, he trades another set of rooks, and he has an outside B pawn. That's all he has, or outside A pawn. I just play B5 here. If he plays E5, then I've shut his bishop in. Okay, let's see, G5. Okay, like I say, we want some weakness in this position, but I'm not sure where it is yet. Let's try and build. Don't know what to do there exactly when you're down material. Knight E6 was coming. Okay, so now he's guarding the mate threat, which I'm not threatening yet. Time to get this knight on F1 in play and see what comes up. Knight H2. Okay, it's his move there, my move. Okay, King F1, he doesn't want any part of that, of shutting in his bishop, so let's see. Oh, if I go attack his pawn with Rook A1, Rook A1, he plays A4. Yeah. Nice quiet move is Bishop A1. I control the queening square. I keep an eye on D4 and get ready to play Rook B1 and just suffocate him. Okay, no hurry. Okay, so he took. Now on F1. So now I take with the rook. Okay. Safer way to take. Okay. And now Rook B1, inviting him to trade off a bunch of stuff. Okay, F3, Knight H2, it's their move. Okay, oh, I didn't move here yet, did I? Let's see. Rook takes, he takes with the bishop. And my knight on B5 is pinned. How do I want to do this? My knight's such a good knight on B5. Knight C3 only attacks his rook. He has time to deal with that. I'm keeping him out of squares. Rook takes. Bishop takes. And I have B5 is covered. Then I can play the rook to C1. Well, I'll just take it and see what he comes up with. Wait a minute. What if I do knight D6 right away? What's his threat? Knight D6. If he takes with the queen, I have rook takes rook check. If he takes on C1, let's see, knight D6, rook takes C1, knight d7. Sometimes you look at these obvious things and they're staring you right in the face, and your mind hallucinates, and you can't think. Chess requires intense concentration, and unless if you don't give sometimes 100% of your attention the whole game, just one bad move can spoil the potential. So sometimes what's best to do is what I'm going to do right here. I just need to stand up, walk around, and get the blood circulating in my system, and come back. I'm not losing on time. Let me see. I have 29 minutes in that game. That's enough time. Let me see. 19 minutes there. That's plenty of time. It's objectively, it's just time to start improving my position in a few places. Let's just get my... He's not going to take on d4. Let's just get my king closer too. Okay, what's happening here? Rook d6. He's on my queen. I have 33 minutes left. b5 is covered. Queen b7. Okay. Knight d6. I have 47 minutes left here. That's plenty of time. Okay, he wants to get the knight to c4, which is it'll be a mild nuisance. Can't really stop it. So just going to safeguard the bishop on well, wait. h4. Knight c4. I take. He takes my bishop. I take back. He takes there. I don't know. Do I want to weaken myself? Bishop f2, knight c4. I gotta walk. I will be back in about 2 minutes. These positions are getting... It can drive you nuts. Okay, be back. Okay, return. Now let's take a quick stock and see what's happening in some of these games. Kasparov. Yeah, he shut me in now. Question is, what can I do with my queen rook pawn? Well, is he threatening to win my queen? Not necessarily. Is he threatening to checkmate me with rook d1? Not necessarily. Okay, let's just shove the pawn and see what happens. Okay, now he plays e5, shutting his bishop in. Now, how do I want to redeploy the knight? What if I put the knight on b3? I'm attacking his rook. Then the knight can take on... he can take my pawn on b5. Well, I was prepared to give that pawn up. I don't care about it. I've shut his bishop in. If I put the knight on c6... let's see. Say, I don't mind losing that pawn. Just get my pieces recoordinated here. Got a d5. I want to get to d5. How much time do I have? 13 minutes. Knight c2. Rook takes, rook takes. Then knight e3, and I'm going to get to d5. Right? Knight c2 is the move. He can win his pawn. I don't care about the pawn. I'll get a set of rooks traded off, and I get this great square for my knight on d5. Okay, so that's taken care of. Okay, here comes the rook. Gotta threaten to make a queen here. Push the pawn. He can get a queen check down on d1. And rook takes a1, rook takes a1, rook d1 check, rook takes, king g2. He gets queen d5 check in, and I have f3, and I'm threatening to make a queen with check. So go with that. a3, he took my pawn. This is fine. Okay, and now knight e3. And hello d5. Okay, now let's see. 27 minutes left here. He's covered matters a little bit. So let's see. Knight g4 invites him to weaken his pawn structure with h5. Do I have any threats if I do that? Knight takes f6 check, takes queen g4 check, king goes in the corner. Don't quite have enough. I have to get my bishop activated. So it's one step at a time. Let's just get this guy into play and see what happens. Okay, he took, as expected. Now I take here. He gets his check. Okay, you see his pawn isn't going anywhere. That's what's beautiful about this position. That pawn on a4 is not going to queen, and he's not going to penetrate my position. Meanwhile, I have this killer outpost for this knight. I'm threatening a fork. Look at that. Knight c7 check is the threat. Okay, there's as expected. Okay, now I come up with the king. He gets one more check. And then I play f3, and I'm threatening to make a queen with check while he's trying to set up a perpetual. Okay, what's happening here? Okay, g6. There's a weakness. I can play queen g4, and his critter is pinned. I can play knight h6 check, bishop takes, bishop takes. Yeah, he wins my pawn on b2, but I've got attacking chances. Let's see. I'll come back to that. I just don't want to get behind on time here. Okay, so you saw that. Now get my king activated and off from a rook trade. He's really helpless here. Just consolidate everything. Okay, there's that check. Now f3. Okay. F5 doesn't bother me. I'll just reinforce things with f3. He's not going to be able to attack e4. His rook just can't get in the game. I've got all the squares covered. Okay, so now king d2, and I get my king closer. Oppose rooks on the b file. Trade them off. Go in as a pawn. Okay, he played there. I got to make a queen. It's with check. Okay. Now my bishop's loose. He doesn't have checks, so we just punt for a moment. Okay. Now where's the game where I'm down a queen for a rook? There it is. Okay. Oh yeah, I hadn't decided on this one yet. Okay, I got 35 minutes. What was I thinking? H4. Of course, I can always also play G4 here. What's the purpose of that? To limit his bishop. And kind of fix some of his pawns. My bishop is just not a good piece on G2. So let's keep him crummy. Let's play it. G4. And now there's king up. That doesn't help him. I play king c2. Now just a matter of just methodically redeploying everything here. He can get his king up to c4, but I'm going to give him some trouble here. He can't stay there. Okay, so what's he threatening? Anything? No. So queen takes. Okay, 4 games. King c2. G4, it's his move. G3. Oh yeah, it was my move. Okay, what was I thinking of doing here? What do I have? 23 minutes left. Mercy, let's see. It's 10 o'clock my time. I know what to do here. Gotta figure a plan out, you know. You know, I don't make moves like I did here in the regular game. Just giving material away. It's one drawback with playing a lot of games at once. It's very easy to drop something. But anyway, it's okay. It's good experience for these guys. Let them see if they can defend a position where they face a potential attack. Let's see. Okay, so my knight's under attack. If I play knight h6 check, if he takes, I take with the bishop. Now I don't care that he takes my pawn on b2, and I know the e pawn is a target too, but it's going to take him a long time to make a queen. I now have time to start to attack him. I have potential moves like knight g4 followed and bishop c1. Let's see. What's my alternative besides knight h6 check? What other candidate moves do I have here? The other idea is just give up the piece, which puts me a rook down. I can play queen g4. That pins him. He plays king h8. Now, I gotta check with the knight, see what he does. Okay, I won this game by resignation. Thank you very much for the game. Where is it? Let me close this one. Okay. He wants to keep his rook. Okay, well that's fine. You may keep your rook. I want to activate mine. Rook b1. Get it down to the 8th rank. I have 10 minutes left. Okay, rook b1. Okay, what's happening in this game? He took, now I take. I have 20 minutes left there, that's enough time. Okay, oh yeah, I'm running out of time. Knight d6 works. Knight d6, if rook takes, I take this, I'm on, well, we'll find out. It's just too complicated. It works. Knight d6. Okay, anyway, he took it. Okay, that got rid of that guy. Now it's just a matter of consolidating this position. I do gain time every move. Let's see what's happening here. Okay, he brought the bishop back. Nice to get the knight into c4. So we let him. I bring the rook back to c3, knight c4, bring the bishop back to c1, and we redeploy. Okay, what's happening here? Okay, so now king c2. Let's see. Yeah, king c2. Let's keep his king out of d3. I don't want it getting in there. Okay, he's not going anywhere in this game. He brought the king out. Now, do I want to spend a tempo and save the pawn? Or do I want to go for the attack? Okay, h5. Knight g4 candidate moves. Let me come back on that. What's happening in this game? He took there. Now I pin his queen. Oh, wait. What am I thinking? Maybe I've... yeah. Let's see. Rook takes. Dang it. Maybe this doesn't work. I thought it worked. Okay, let's see. Rook takes, pins his queen. He takes back with the bishop. He guards his knight. Let's see. Dang it, dang it, dang it, dang it. 10 minutes. I thought it worked. I can't see everything. Okay. Got to take a walk and think about this thing, and I thought it worked. Of course, I can play... Let's see. let's see. I was pinning his queen here. This way we couldn't take on b1. So let's see. What are my candidate moves now? Rook takes on b1. I hang the knight on d6. I take his pawn on a5. I'm attacking his knight twice. If it goes back to b8 or c7. Okay, if I take his rook on a8, he takes on c1. I take on c1 with my queen. He takes. Yeah, I gotta take his. Just give up the piece and try and get something out of this. Yeah, I thought knight e6 worked. Just too many games. Trying to focus between them. Okay, I have 9 minutes left here. Come back to this one. Okay, his bishop's going absolutely nowhere. So let's get his king out of the game. King d3, a3. Well, we don't want him playing a3. And on bishop b2, king c4. Knight d7 check, or b6 check, king back to b3, knight d7. Where's it going next? Let's see, king d3, a3, c4 check, king a4. Too many games. Let's see, c4. Can't even think anymore. Okay. Dang it. 7 minutes left. I'm going to start offering draws in these games. No. It's a winning position for white. I'm a piece ahead, for crying out loud. King d3, a4. c4, king a4. King c3. And he can't do a thing. Okay, king d3. Okay, what other games? It's his move here. It's my move here. I have 16 minutes left. Okay, h5, g5. I'm going to bring the bishop back. It could come in handy. Rebuild this. Okay, knight c4 is expected. Bishop back. Okay, he did play a3. Just check him. He goes to a4, and I play king c3. And as Gandalf would say, thou shalt not pass. Okay. What's happening now? Bishop c1. He did play king a4. Okay, so now how do we do this? Next step is to drive his king out. Let's see, king c2. King here with the idea of knight b6 check. We'll go there. King c3. I have to watch out when my knight moves that he doesn't get bishop e3 and bishop d4 check in. But that should be simple enough. Bishop c1 is his move. Okay, I play bishop c1, it's his move. Okay, there's bishop g4, g5. Okay, so how about if I just chase his bishop out of here with f4? Let's see, bishop f4. Knight b6 check. King a5. Knight d7. Where am I going? Not sure. How about if I e takes d f5, g takes f5, f4. She takes f4 on his bishop. His bishop comes back. I gotta watch out for a few tricks here. Knight b6 check, king a5, knight c8. Bishop e3. There's that trick. Yep, let's get rid of that bishop. Okay, I can't afford to spend all the time. Okay, he's on my pawn. Let's kick the knight out while we can. Okay. Okay, I've opened up the diagonal, so my knight's kind of tied down. I got to take back here on with a tempo. Okay, so first mission accomplished. Now do I want to get a passed pawn? I guess this gives him a passed pawn. E5 takes, and just shove the pawn up the board. E5 takes F4. I take it. The threat is E6. His bishop really doesn't have much. He has a check. Bishop A5 check. King C2. And he's out of checks. Okay, get a passed pawn. That's the key. Okay, E5. Now he's guarding things. Okay, got to break him open somehow. How are we going to do it? Knight G4 threatens a check. Gets ready for F4. Okay, Knight G4. What's happening here? Oh, I didn't move here yet. Oh gosh, I got to move. Okay, the only move is rook takes. Okay. Now I've got potential with a queen F3 follow-up. Okay, pawn takes, push, takes, push pawn. Yeah, I get back in time. E6, pawn takes F4, E7, bishop takes, knight takes, F3. E7, F3. No, E7 takes, knight takes, F3. Knight takes F5, F2, knight E3, game over. Okay, let's see. Knight D6, now I got to cover E2. How do I want to do it? Let's cover it with rook E1. Okay, rook E1. Play knight B5 here. Yeah, I'm getting a bad game here. Well, I was already down material. Okay, so now, gosh, I'm close to getting somewhere here. Knight takes F6, king takes F6. Bishop G5 check. Queen F3 attacks there. guards it. Knight takes e5. Pawn takes. Bishop g5. Yeah, his king runs for the hills. Queen f3. Knight h6. Queen f3 it is. I gotta look at this other game here. I'm gonna lose this one on time. No, he hasn't moved. Okay. Okay, this game's over. f3. Knight takes f5. f2. Knight e3. Okay. Okay, can I save any of these games? God, knight b5 is a killer move. But, oh well. My rook has... I got rook e3. Okay, rook f8. There's a time for h5 now. Let's see, h5. If he plays g5, I get the knight on h6 and it gets into f5 with check. Yeah, let's give it a try. Okay, game over there. Thanks for the game. Okay, so that game's over. Where's Pawn Pusher? Here it is. Okay. Okay, I got 3 bad games now. Yeah. Okay, I should be losing all of them. He didn't play knight b5. Okay, thank you. Okay. Time to stop knight b5. Of course, he wants to get back into e4. So we don't let him. We just play h3. Okay. Losing 3 games. Can I save any of them? That is the question. 15 minutes left here. 34 minutes left there. 2 minutes and 40 seconds left here. Okay. I have some compensation here. On queen takes d6, I play queen takes a5. I get a pawn for the piece I've dumped. And threats to bottle him up somehow. I'll get some kind of play going here. You know, these guys, they have winning positions. Can they win them? That's the big question. Just trying to take squares away from them. That's all I'm trying to do. That's all I can do. Okay, so let's see. 15 minutes left there, 34 minutes left there, 2 minutes left here. I'll watch this position because it's the one I'm going to lose the time in, the first. Session is now 2 hours and 25 minutes long. Okay, somebody moved. Who moved? He took? Huh. Okay, so now I'm going to get f5. The f5 square if he's not careful, unless he's going to be greedy and try and hold that pawn on h5. What's he planning? Knight g7? Well, you know, I don't know what he's trying to do. He's on my knight, so I need to move it. There it is. Attack his rook. I get... He doesn't have time for knight g7. I'm attacking his rook. Okay, so... making some progress here. It's one thing to get a winning game. It's another one to win it. Okay, queen f7. What a horrible position. Okay, I have to watch d4. It's a weakness. So if he can get his knight to b5, he can attack it. And there's a4 is the positional move. Okay, let's see. Rook b1 is still his move. I have 2 minutes left. Okay. Down to 3 games. Yeah, I've actually got some hope here. Getting a nice outpost for my knight. I've got the 2 bishops. He doesn't have one, although his knights are nicely coordinated here. They support each other. And my horrible light-squared bishop suddenly got active. So if he returns the exchange at some point, then I get my material back. And then we fight again another day. Ho-hum, let's see what's going on here. Okay, still his move. Anyway, I'm not sure what he's doing, but I got everybody thinking for once instead of it being my move everywhere. You know, these people that can play these simultaneouses and play like 30, 40 boards and win almost every one of them. I mean, they've got my utmost respect for, you know, being able to play quick. But quick chess is one thing. Slow play is an entirely different one. And, you know, what have I done here? I've made 3 blunders. I've got 3 lost games. Okay, so now he saved the exchange. So I've got this outpost for my knight. So I check with the knight. He moves his king. I take the h-pawn. And I'm on his... I got all kinds of possibilities here. The candidate moves are queen checks and knight f5 check. Okay, so we're going to go there eventually anyway. Let's get it over with. Knight f5 check. Okay, what's happening here? He didn't realize what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to keep him from getting his knight into b5. Okay, you know, when you're down a queen for a rook, there's not much you can really do except pray. So I'm trying to set up any kind of a blockade in this position. Let's go attack his knight. For want of anything else. I gotta get this. I've got a dark squared bishop. He can't cover the dark squares. I'd love to get it on e5, although it's not going to get there easily. Let's try that. Okay, what's happening here? Okay, king d8. Okay, his king's running for the hills. Now I'm going to go attack his pawn on h7 with queen takes h5. We could take on d3. Then I take on h7. And if he grabs my rook, I play queen e7 check. Oh god, this is getting wildly tactical. I don't know. Let's see. Maybe this is one of those positions where I just have to batten down the hatches, and his h5 pawn is weak. Let's see. I'm down a pawn, but I can win it back. Maybe I have to play bishop f1 here. Bishop f1, so my queen is free. And what's he going to try? Knight g7. I can bother his rook with knight h4 then. Knight h4. His rook comes up to g4. He's getting kind of awkward there. Knight let's see. Bishop f1. If he's trying to hang on to the pawn, knight g7, knight h5, knight h4 rather, rook here. I just love that because he's just getting all bottled up. Queen takes h5, knight takes d3, queen takes h7, knight takes e1, queen takes g6. I haven't really gained anything. My rook's not doing much good. Maybe I should put it on d1 if I'm going to guard that pawn and keep my bishop in play. Yeah, let's do that. Rook d1. There you go. Okay, now what's happening here? Queen f6. Okay, so like I say, I want my bishop in play. What's he threatening? He's threatening my pawn on d4. There's that problem again. So bishop c5. Still my move, his move. He's got to figure out what I'm doing. Okay, let's see. Rook d1. What else is happening? So it's his move, it's his move, and it's his move. I have 2 minutes and 40 seconds. I have 31 minutes, and I have 12 minutes. Okay. So left to my devices, I'm going to take my pawn back on h5 and fight again another day. He's, black's up material, but black's got to get rid of pieces to win. Not clear exactly how he does it yet. I have a lot of play here. Okay. So this could be good practice for you guys. Get a winning. If you get a winning game, you got to win it. And many times when I was younger and playing, I'd get winning games against lower-rated players, and against higher-rated players, and they would stop making mistakes, and I'd keep making them, and suddenly they were back in the game. So, you guys need to win these games. I hope you do win them. I want to see you guys improve. But if you don't, hopefully this video can kind of explain some of the reasons why you won or why you didn't win. That's the whole idea of making these things. I'm here for everyone's improvement. We are making chess history. Best coaching group on chess.com. Everything's so clearly laid out. How to improve. Video lesson 001. It shows you what you need to know. You don't need to buy books. You don't need to hire coaches. You learn just like I did. I can teach the way I learned, but there's other ways to make chess master. But the way I worked, I know it worked. But the key: analyze your games. I've shown you what I've thought in these games. What did I do? I hung material in 3 of them. Got cute in 1. Just watched. Didn't see my queen was attacked. Moved a knight. Let a rook be taken. Oh well. But like I say, this is good practice. Can you guys win the winning games when you get a gift? Because people do blunder. Can you win the winning games? That's a good question. Can you? So, I have 12 minutes left here. Okay, he still hasn't moved. Okay, that's fine. He can move when he wants. Let him figure it out. This guy's using his time too, but that's all right. Okay, queen back to d8. Now, how can I improve my position? Well, the answer is I can't. when you're down material, it's kind of hard to get anything done. So let's see. He wants to play b6 and chase my bishop out of there. Okay, fine. That means I need to cover e3. So pawn e3, there it is. Okay. Still his move. Still his move. Still his move. Okay. Still his move. Still his move. So let's see. Oh, I heard a click, meaning it's my move. There it is. He, like I said, he wants to play b6. So I keep my bishop. It's my one decent piece. He doesn't have a counterpart. I got to keep my dark squared bishop. Oh, look, he let me right back. Okay, see? Do I want to go back? What if I snatch his pawn on c6? Threatens his knight. It's something. You know, I got to have a break here. Rook takes c6, b4, bishop b2. I got a crummy dark squared bishop again. But I got a pawn for it. How much time do I have? Rook takes c6. You got to take it. You may not get another chance. I'm attacking something. Hooray! Okay, rook takes c6. What's happening here? Oh, we played there. A move I had not anticipated, but that's all right. I still have. Wait. Where's this queen? I don't want to get caught on this mouse slip garbage again. I can take on g5 with my bishop. How's he going to take back with his rook? I'll just take this pawn. So he's going to get a bishop back, but that's all right. I have a knight entrenched. Okay, what's happening here? Rook. No, he still hasn't moved. Come. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so now do I want to put my bishop on c5 or do I want to double rooks? Or do I want to take his pawn on b5? It's not guarded. Yeah, got to take what I can get here. See, his knight on d6 is pinned. He's making mistakes like I was. Okay, there's that check. Okay. Now, h7 is loose. How are you going to defend it? I have possibilities of knight d6 threatening queen c8 check for what it's worth. Don't know if it goes anywhere, but we'll find out soon enough. So actually, you know, I would rather have kept my light squared bishop, but you know, bishop f1 and just put it back out of play. Okay, so he's guarding that guy again. Now he's off of b2, so takes the sting out of knight d6 away. So it's time to do something. Let's see. Bishop D2. I'm going to come back to this in just a second. What's happening here? Okay. Time to double rooks. And I can afford to let E3 hang because D6 is hanging. So let's see. Wait, where's this rook at? Where's this rook at? I have time on this game. Let me look at these other ones. Make sure it's not my move here. No, not yet. Okay. What's happening here? I have 9 minutes left. Okay, I got to figure that. Let me see. I'll figure this one out in a moment. Let's see. F4 is a very interesting move. F4 threatens bishop takes d5. He does have time to take knight takes d5 though. Let's see. Yeah, I'll come back. I gotta work. I have 29 minutes left there. I'll come back to it. Okay, what to do here? H7 and F6 are weak. How can I attack them? Well, I'm going to utilize my rook on D1 somehow. Meaning my king might have to walk over to E2 so it secures the pawn. Maybe it's one of those positions where I just punt and try to provoke a weakness of his with B3. B3, let him play A5, and I go B4, chase his knight out of there. And maybe I can get C5 and knight D6 in, although it's deactivating my bishop. Bishop H6 right away. Attacks his rook. He puts it where? On G8. I don't know. I kind of like, of course, B3. It works if I can occupy that file. B3, inducing him into A4. Bishop H6 moves the rook. Now, of course, he's trying to take on B3 and stops rook A1. So it's time for one of those mysterious moves. King F1. Okay. Still his move. The purpose of King F1 was it preserves the option of getting the king to E2 so that the rook can get active on the H file. That's all it does. It's just a mysterious little move. Not normally one would want to play, if they want to activate the rook, you would play King G2 and rook H1. Well, the king on G2, you do that because you don't want to be in the center where you're going to get attacked. But here, the king has to help out, batten down the hatches. I don't want to open up the queen side. I think it favors him. Let him shove his pawns and over there and open it up. And then maybe I can find the right way to see some open lines. Like I said, I only have 7 minutes in this game too. I got to watch out. And I'm 2 minutes there. My God, I'm taking a lot of time here. Okay, is it my move here? Yes, it is. It's my move here. Okay, how do I want to do this? If bishop F1, if knight takes B5, I play bishop takes B5. He wins his piece. Let's see. Wins his piece back. Let's see. Bishop E1. Knight takes B5. I play rook. No, I play rook takes. Then I take it. So bishop F1 seems to be okay here. Bishop F1. rook. Switches queen takes and bishop takes. And suddenly I got lots of critters for my queen that I gave him. Okay, so king f1, the mysterious king move. How many of these games can I save? Down a piece, going to be down a piece for a pawn there. Down a queen for a rook here, but I luckily got 2 pawns back. And I'm down in the exchange here. How many of them can I save? I don't know. Still his move. There's a ray of hope here. Not much of one, but there's a ray of hope. But good practice for you guys. You know, you should be winning these games. If you don't, you learn something from why you didn't. And hopefully these videos show you. So I'm just hanging on. Okay, he went over there and tied his rook down. Now, does he want to advance his h-pawn? That's the question. That's the multi-million-dollar question. Does he want to advance his rook pawn? Well, I can stop him from advancing his rook pawn by sticking something on h6. What do I want to stick there? How about the knight? That keeps his knight out of e6 and gives me potential to maybe at some point play knight f7 check. Of course, he'll probably offer me a queen trade, queen d7, in which case I ignore it and play queen h5, and I'm covering the squares he wants to get around on. So let's see, knight h5 or bishop h6. Bishop h6, he plays knight e6. And then my knight goes to h4, and I'm attacking his knight and I'm attacking his rook, but he has knight g4. Where's this coming from? Let's get back on the square. Knight h6, or bishop h6, knight e6, knight... No, he can't play it. Bishop h6, knight e6, knight h4. He plays knight g5, and I take... He gets out of it, so... He can force knight g6 in, or knight g5 in, unless I disallow it, play something like f4. So we don't want it, knight h6, we don't want him trying to trade queens. We want him thinking, and I gotta watch my time. Okay, bishop h6 it is. Okay, what's happening in this game? He took there. Now I take with the g-pawn. Okay, what's happening here? Did he move yet? No, not yet. Excuse me. Okay. I'm down to 5 minutes there. These things take... Okay, what's happening? This clock is still running. He played knight e6. Okay. As I said, he's planning to play knight g5. What was I saying? f4 will stop that. Of course, he can take, and I take with the g-pawn, and he takes on f4. Let's see. What's happening here? Well, like I say, the moment he plays knight g5, he's not really threatening anything. It's probably time to get my queen redeployed at some point. Let's see, I have 4 minutes left. Try and find a new invasion path for the queen. Let's see. On knight h4, he plays knight g5. Oh, wait, knight h4 just play rook takes on h6 too. So let's see. So I was saying it's time to redeploy the queen somewhere. Where else do I have? Queen h5. Knight g5. Where's he going? Queen d1. I got that nice outpost for that knight still. And maybe we try to open up the queen side. Okay. I admit there's nothing going with the queen over here, so I'm trying to figure out what to do here. Queen d2, not my move. Not my move. Here, like I said, the whole objective is transfer the queen to a different part of the board, trying to find new avenues of play. Okay, bishop g6. Okay, I don't care if he takes on e3 because I'll take on d6. So rook c1. Prepares to play b6. He's still walking into a pin. Okay, what's happening here? That game's still going. That game's still going. That's still going. Okay, so at some point I'm wanting to play king e2, but here I'm going to use that square for my queen to switch over to the queen side. I'm basically, going to set this up blockade style. Okay, he played there. No big deal. Where's he going? I'm going to the queen side. That's where I'm going. I got new avenues in mind. Okay, what's happening here? Still his move. Mercy. And now we save the bishop. Where's the bishop go? How about back to c1 again? Ha ha. Okay. Actually, I can put it on g7 here. Let's see. Bishop g7 attacks his rook. I don't know if that leads anywhere. It doesn't look like it. Bishop g7. He puts his rook on g8. And where do I go? Bring my queen back to h5. Then he takes my bishop. On g7, I take back. I don't get anywhere. Okay, so he's not really threatening anything here, is he? Yeah, he's threatening my bishop. Well, let's go put it on d2. The idea here is to play queen e1, and we'll try and break some lines open on the queen side now. Follow up with b4. Normally I would like to go back to c1, but I got to keep an eye on, I got to break some lines open on the queen side. Is the only hope. And my king's fine on f1. Okay, so let's see what's happening here. It's his move still. Still his move. Okay, video is now reaching the 3-hour mark. Not quite. Excuse me. Let's see. Rook. So I'm going to try and open some lines. If he plays knight d6, I'll bring the knight back to h4. Or I might even stick... Oh, he played there. Okay. First order of business, how to do this. So somebody move. I'm not worried about that. He can't take that. Or can he? Bishop takes. Okay. Queen e1 threatens something. And if he plays b6, I play b4 and threaten something again. And every time he plays h4, I just grab it off, and he doesn't have enough. Queen e1. There you go. Okay, let's see. Now, how do I take with the rook? Threatening his bishop, threatening all kinds of fun things. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's see. Queen e1. I've got a threat. b6, I play b4. And like I say, we start trying to open up this queen side and see what I can do over there. Just might be able to do some damage. And then again, I might not. Still his move. My goodness. He must have taken a nap. Okay. Now you see the point of bishop e2 was to play queen e1. I actually have a threat. Bishop takes a5. Hooray. Okay. I'm threatening rook takes bishop on g6 check, which brings down the curtains, so to speak. Now I've got a rook and a bishop for the queen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pawns to 4. According to the diagram, which you can't see on the video, it says we both have captured 23 points each. I have material equality, but I'm point count chess, but there's a big imbalance here. He has the queen and I don't. I just have an extra dark squared bishop. That's all I got. Okay, so I have 24 minutes of time there. I'm down time here. I have 2:31. It's his move. I have 2:40 here. He's still thinking. I'm just going to watch this game. Well, let's see. He moved. Now what to do? If I guard my rook, I can play bishop d6. That threatens to stick the queen here, the rook here. Where's he put his queen? e6. Then I get the bishop to e5 like I wanted all along. Somebody moved. Okay, b6. b4. Okay, I got a threat again. Okay, so I'm going to play a4 here. Maybe. Okay, back to this one. Bishop d6. What does he do? The threat is rook c7. So he's got to move his king off the back rank, or the second rank, or his queen off the second rank. This activates the piece. Always develop your pieces. Get them in the game. This threatens to win. He took. Okay, that helps me, I believe. Now I've got some open lines. I've got potentials to get my pieces in play here. Okay, bishop e7, check, knight e7. Suddenly these are possibilities. He might play c5 here. Not too worried about that. As I say, I've achieved one thing. I've got some open lines to play with, and he really can't open things on the king side. My attack reached its conclusion there. So basically, he still hasn't moved. Mercy. Okay, where do I want the bishop? Let's go back to d2. Okay, because I'm low on time. At least I get a 30-second increment. Okay, bishop d6. I'm getting ready to put that bishop on e5 where it's deadly. Might even get a checkmate on h8. Imagine the white bishop on d6 on e5, and if you can get the rook to h8, it's mate. The alternative aside from bishop d6 was to play bishop a4, which secures that bishop and frees the rook to go do some tricks, but I got to get the other piece in play. That was extremely critical to get my other piece in play. So let's see. Okay, back the king up. So now we make a threat on his bishop with check. With bishop e5. Okay, bishop e5. Okay, what's happening here? He still hasn't moved. My goodness. Fell asleep. Okay, plan of action is shift over to the queen side with my heavy artillery. Rook to b1, maybe rook to a1, a5, a4. Okay, somebody moved. I think rook check. I think that move loses. Rook g6 check. If bishop takes, I play bishop takes. If king up, I take your critter. Yeah, it just loses. Rook g6 check. He resigned. Okay, I got lucky. I won that game. Thank you so much for playing. Down to 2 games. Okay, what's happening here? MJC played there. I don't want to trade knights. I have such a nice outpost. Okay, where do I want to... How do I want to do this? Let's go attack his rook. Okay, his rook's under attack. He took, finally. Okay, queen takes a5. I don't know if that was the best move. That's what I was thinking way back when. But, c'est la vie. Okay. Knight h5. Okay, rook back. Now let's see. It's time to start the proverbial counterattack. Rook a1, the idea of a5, a4, a5. Yeah, that frees b1 for my queen. Okay, rook a1. Okay, rook c1 here keeps the threat on his knight. Okay, that one's... I have little time in both games. Let's see. Is he trying to play f5? Well, you know, that opens up things for me. It opens up the file my queen's on. I have to get some open lines here. So that's what I'm doing. I'm not too sure trying to make a blockade. I'm trying to get active play for my pieces. And okay, rook c1. I dumped a piece here. But his knight's on pre. You can step into a pin with rook a8. You can play bishop c8. But I'm going to get some activity here. Okay, his move. f5. Well, I don't think that's any good. I don't think you can afford to attack me. A5. If you take, I take on b6, and you better not take back with your queen because I pin you. So that's just a critical tempo here. A5. Okay. And suddenly I get all kinds of possible threats on you. Let's see. Bishop there. Well, doesn't he drop his piece back? What am I missing? Queen takes. Queen takes. Bishop takes. I'm out from a draw. I want this exhibition over. Well, actually, I won't just yet. I mean, no disrespect. Let's see what's happening here. I have 3 minutes and 21 seconds left. I just need to get down to... I'll wait for this guy to move, and I'll consider offering a draw in the other game. Actually, I could probably offer it now. Let's see. Where is this? Rook c6. Save the pawn. Hey, just off the draw. Rook c6, bishop d7. He can't play. Yeah, I'm better, but I just want one game left. He was nice. He almost lost on time himself. What's left? This one. Okay, a5. You're going to take the draw. played there. So now it's counterplay time. If let's see, did he take the draw? He did. Okay, down to one game. Thanks for the game. A6? No, that just doesn't. That just shuts off lines. That's dumb. Pawn takes, threatens rook to B7 or rook to A7. So if he takes, I stick my queen there. I mean my rook there. He gobbles the pawn. I trade. He takes back, and my queen comes up here, and it's all over, crawling all over his position. I'm crawling all over his position. I have 2 minutes and 24 seconds to figure this out. Do I have enough compensation here? I don't know. I'm getting some play. He's allowed me some play, but is it enough to hold a draw or to steal a win? That is the question. Okay. I don't know. Okay. A6 is just horrible because he just blocks the pawn. I've got to open up alliance. Now, B takes, A takes B6. He plays F takes. Now I go chase his queen with rook A7. So, then he plays queen B6. I pin it again. So he has to come back with his queen. And then I take on F7. He takes back with the knight. And then I play queen takes E4, and I'm threatening rook A8. I got some potential here. Let's see. What am I missing? Not sure what I'm missing. We'll find out. We'll find out. Whoop, there goes the screen. Okay, what's happening here? Okay, A takes B6. Last game. I have a minute and 49 seconds left. I live and die on this one. Is this game over with here? Where is it? Let's see which one is over. This one. Okay, close it. Back to this game. Where is it? There it is. Okay. So I'm going to play knight C8. What do we do here? Knight C8. I may just take on F5 with my knight then. Okay, I think you're in trouble now. Rook A7. If you play queen takes B6, I have bishop A5. Maybe I don't know. Where's he going to put his queen? You can't take on B6. That's a mistake. Okay, rook B7. Play queen to C6. Okay, then let's see. You play queen to C6, and then I play. I don't know what rook takes, knight takes, I have 2 minutes and 2 seconds to figure out what do I do on queen C6. I can always play rook C7. That's humorous. Queen takes B6, then bishop A5. Egads, that's crazy tactical. Okay, rook takes. Let's see, wait, something's wrong here. I have a minute to figure this out. Rook takes, knight takes, queen takes E4. I'm going to get his pawn on e5 here too, I think. Let's see. Rook takes. I also play queen a1 here. That threatens to pin his queen. And if he plays rook takes, I take with the queen. He trays queens, I take back with the pawn, and he brings his king to the up, and I don't promote. So rook takes f7, knight takes f7. Queen takes c4. Now b6 is safe for him to take, but I'm going to watch my time. I'm down to 38 seconds. But I have stuff like queen e8 check. I got some tactics here. Okay, maybe something else works, but this will have to do. Rook takes f7. I'm just running out of time. I have a chance to get my knight into play. I'm going to take on e4 with my queen in a moment. I may wreak some havoc on his position here yet. Let's see. I got some counterplay out of this with the transfer to the queen side motive. Ran out of gas on the king side and knew when to come over. Just read the position and figured out I got to go over that way. Okay, so knight takes, and I play queen takes e4, and I have 5 pawns. He has 4. He can get the one on b6, but I have this active knight. Knight to g6 hits his rook, preserves the queen a8 check. So rook e8, for instance. My bishop can be checking on g5. I have good winning chances here. It's complicated. Okay, would he move? Okay. Now queen takes. Okay, what's his next move? What's his next move? Excuse me. What is his next move? Okay. Queen e4. I have bishop g5 check possibilities. A minute and 10 seconds. He has 29 minutes. So queen takes b6. I get some activity here. He did. Okay, queen takes b6. I can't play. Yeah, I can play knight g6. Knight g6. If rook g8, queen d5 check. Queen d6. Bishop g5 check. King c7. F7 is hanging. King e8. I think knight g6 is the key move. I don't think I have enough with queen a8 check. And this also pressures e5. So his move again. I have a minute left. pressure on. He has a back rank check. Not too worried about that. My king just comes back to g2. Okay, so let's see. His rook is loose. I have a potential to check on d5 with my queen. He played rook e8 now. If I check with the queen on d5, I'm on his knight. If he plays queen d6, I can play queen takes f7. So he has to play knight d6. And queen e8 check. He goes to d7. Do I have enough there? Queen back to d5. Difference is what I want is knight. Let's check on d5. I'll sort it out later. Queen d5 check. Okay, now I think that forces knight d6, because on queen d6 I pick up the knight on f6. So now the knight's pinned, and I can take on e5 with new threats. Knight takes e5. And his knight will be pinned. And I'm threatening to play knight c6 check and knight f7 check. I've actually got some winning chances here. Okay, so let's see what happens. Okay, king e7 is illegal. King c8 or c7 drops his knight. Queen d6 drops his knight. Okay, so now, as I say, now I have a bishop g5 check, but I don't see it going anywhere. His king just goes up to c8, and I don't have a pin. See, I like having a pin on that knight. So knight takes e5. And then the threat also, well, we'll just figure it out. Knight takes e5. Okay, I got one pawn back for the exchange, and I finally have my attack. Well, I had a little one earlier, but let's see. Needs to break the pin. King c7 or c8. Of course, I can maybe do some tricks on him. I'm also threatening bishop a5 here, which if queen takes, then I follow up with knight c6 check. He's got to be very careful. I don't think a queen check on his part helps him much. I'm sorry, I'm busy now. Oh, come in. Here, hang on. Sorry. Sorry. Got interrupted. Okay, so here we are. So, interesting position. I got all kinds of little threats here. Excuse me. Okay. I would love to get up and walk around, but with 48 seconds left on my clock, I can't do it. Okay, so let's see. What's his best move? King c7. Suppose I play bishop a5 check anyway. Queen takes a5. Queen c6 check. King b8. If d8, I play queen d6 check, king c8, queen d7 check, and win his rook. So he has to go to king b8, and I pick up his knight with check. It doesn't give me enough. Queen c7 then. Knight d7 check. King c8. It kind of gives me enough. Okay, I have 48 seconds on my clock and the guy won't move. So if I step out, I'm gonna.
Okay, well, tell me when you get up.
Okay. All right. Got a little interruption there. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay, so let's see. King c7 is an interesting move. What do I do against king c7? I got to plan this out because I only have 38 seconds. Okay, king c7. Bishop a5, queen takes a5, queen c6 check, king b8, knight d7 check. That's another alternative. King. Oh, he just dumped his knight. Okay. Queen takes d6 check. I don't know, maybe cat. Cat came to visit me. Gotta sort this one out. Okay. Have to make sure that he doesn't get queen h1 in. Okay. Okay, queen d6 check. He has to play king c8. Now what do we do? We just punt with f3. Shut off the diagonal. Like also, it might not be worth it to grab that pawn. Let's see. King c8. Queen takes c5 check. King c8. Or king b8. Queen c6. That seems to work. Wow, he resigned. Well, 3.5 hours, long simultaneous. There's a lot to this. I didn't have it all solved at the end. I want to thank everyone for playing, everyone that watched. And I'm going to close this video off, and I'll be with you soon. Take care. Thanks.